Hi, class. We're going to go over real quickly a reminder of how to round numbers to the nearest tenth or hundredth, ones, tens, however, whatever the question is asking. It's always very important to remember what the question is asking, because if the answer is, let's say you get an answer that's 10.478 and they're telling you to round it to the nearest tenth, your actual answer would really be 10.5. Okay. And it's possible that this could be answer A, this could be B, this could be C and D. This could be answer D. Okay. Because they will be testing you for skills to know that you know how to round it. That's part of the reason that they're asking you to rounded is so that they know that you understand that, but another reason is just it makes it shorter. Okay, so just so you guys know, it is an option to have two correct answers, but the correct answer is the one that actually follows the instructions to round to the nearest tenth or hundredth, whatever they're asking you for. So make sure that when you're taking your test, you are looking at that. What they're asking, because it's super important to make sure that you are picking the right one. Okay. Once again, don't look at my drawing because I am horrible at drawing straight lines. So let's just get into it. Okay. We all know that on this side of the decimal, these are just whole numbers, right? If I have $1, it's going to go in this column. If I have $15, the tens is going to go in this column and the five is going to go in this one. Okay. So what that means is that if you have five ones, I have $5. If I have 110, I have $10. But let's say I have $55. Okay. Now I have five ones and that equals $5. And I have five tens and that equals $50. Okay. So that's how we put things in places on this side of the decimal. You also know that if you add, sorry, I have all these little fuzzies in here from my pen. If you add numbers after the decimal, it changes the value. Okay. So if you have $15 and 0 cents, you have $15. Now let's say you have $15 and 50 cents. I now have 50 cents more. What if I have $15 and 5 cents? Okay. This 0 tells me that I have no tenths. Okay. I have nothing in the tenths column, but I do have something in the hundredths column. Now you're thinking this is 5 cents. It should be one, right? It should be 1 penny, right? This is not true, and you cannot think of it that way because this goes the opposite direction. The reason it goes the opposite direction is because these are not actually wholes, okay? This is the whole number. This is a part of a number. So this is actually 0.05 of a whole penny. I'm sorry, of a whole dollar, because we're dealing with a whole $1, right? So this is 0.05 of a whole dollar. So that's why it gives you the 5 cents here, but it's still in the hundredths column. Another thing to note is there is no ones column, right? You see how up here this is ones, tens, and hundreds. This ends with a TH. This is tenths, hundredths, and thousandths. And these can keep going on. On this side, you can have 10 thousandths, 100 thousandths. You could have millions, right? So it can keep going on as far as you want it to. We're just going to deal with the 10 thousandths or the thousandths here because that's normally what you're going to encounter on your test. On this side, it can keep going on to thousands, 10,000s, hundreds, millions, up to billions, right? Not that any of us are billionaires, but not that we don't want to be a billionaire. Okay. So when we're dealing with this here, most of the time, what they're asking you to round, you will have some rounding here. Okay. But most of the time, what they're asking you to round is going to be on the side of the decimal, on the right side of the decimal, on this side here. Okay, so let's say that we have an answer that comes out to be 11.49. Let's make this a 7.6. Okay. And your question tells you to round this answer to the nearest hundredth, to the nearest hundredth. Okay. What we're looking at first is where is the hundredths place? So in this number that is 11.476, okay, our hundredths place is going to be this one here, okay? So we're looking at this number here. What the hundredths place needs to do is it's either going to stay the same or it is going to move up. That is the only two options it gets. So if we're looking at the hundredths place here, this answer is either going to be 11.47 or 11.48. Okay. Now, what determines whether this stays the same or moves up? That is going to be determined by the number in the thousandths place. Now, if the number to the right of the target number, I'm going to call this the target number because this is the one that's going to move up or down. The biggest mistake that people look at is they think that the target number determines whether it stays up or down. It's not. It is the number to the right, okay? So if I'm looking at this number here and it needs to be to the nearest hundredth, I'm going to look to the number to the right. Now, if this number to the right is 4 or lower, it will stay the same. It will stay the 7. If this number is 5 or higher, it will go up to 8. Okay? So if you have 11.476, this 6 is higher than a 5. So that is going to go up to 11.48. Now, if this number was a 0, it would just stay the 7. Better yet, if this number was 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4, this number would stay a 7. If this number is 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, this number will move up to an 8. Now, this is how you would do it no matter what place value they're asking you to round it to. If they're asking you to round it to the tenths, let's look at that. Okay, I had to rewrite some of my lines there. So let's act like they want us to round it to the nearest tenth now. Now we have the same answer. It's still 11.476, but now I need to round it to the tenths. Our first step is, where is the tenths? This is my target number. Is this going to stay the same or is it going to go up? Well, let's look at this here. If this number to the right, remember, we're looking to the right of the target number, okay? I don't know why I put these in here. We're looking to the right of the target number. If this is 4 or below, it stays the same. If it's 5 or above, it's going to move up. So is this going to stay a 4 or is it going to go to a 5? Well, the 7 is above a 5, which means we're going to move it up to the next number, 5. So now that gives us an answer of 11.5. All of these extra numbers in here, they become zeros. You can wipe those away. You don't even need to put those in there. In fact, if you put them in there, you're actually giving us something in the thousandths place, and we don't want that. We only want it in the 10th spot. So let's look at this without some number lines. All right, let's look at this without your number lines. Let's say we have an answer of 10.58300076, and I want you to round that to the nearest hundredth, Now remember, we start at tenths, okay? We don't start at ones. We don't have any ones in this. Our whole ones is over here. This is a piece of the one. So we start here, okay? So this is tenths. This is hundredths. Okay, can't really see that very well, but this is tenths and hundredths. Then we go to the thousandths. Okay, and we want to round this to the nearest hundredth. So our target number is here. Our target number is the 8. So this answer is either going to be 10.58 or it's going to be 10.59. Those are the only two options here. Okay. What determines that is the number to the right. Okay. Now this is below a 5. So this 8 would stay the same. Okay. If this was bigger than 5, it would move up to 10.59, but it's not. So our answer will be 10.58. Let's do this with a different number in a different section. Now let's look at, I want it to be to the biggest. Let's go to the, round it to the nearest thousandth, okay? This is our target spot because our thousandths is here. So I'm going to look to the number to the right. If that is below a 5, so my only two options here are 10.583 or 10.584 because it only stays the same or moves up one. So this number is 0. It's not bigger than a 5. It's under a 4. So it would be 10.583. Okay, this is kind of how you round numbers. This is a very short sample of how you do it. There is a section in the book if you would like to look at that, just to clarify it a little bit. But this is just a short example of how you do that. If you have any questions, let me know.